It's time for the NFL player props for week 10. Let's talk a little pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some more football. We got the player props. That's right. I am ready to roll. We had a great Thursday, as you guys know. Let's hopefully we carry that momentum into a great week 10. Quick reminder, if you're looking for our best game bets for week 10, that means sides, totals, and also the week 10 trends, go check out that video. It is out now. So before we get into it, of course, we got to mention our sponsor, Outlier. Any graphics you see on this video or future videos are from an app called Outlier. I've told you this before. It's the best player prop research tool out there. I use it every single day. It is awesome. If you want to try it out, click the link below in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. You got nothing to lose. So let's get into it. And that means it's time for the NFL fun fact. And this is a very recent one. Here we go. There have been only 2 instances in the history of the NFL where a quarterback has 30 or more completions, 300 or more passing yards, 4 or more touchdown passes, multiple 40-yard touchdown passes, and no more than 1 interception. How about that stat? Anyways, there's only been 2 instances of that, and also still lost the game. First one, Joe Burrow in Week 5 versus the Ravens. The second one, Joe Burrow in Week 10 versus the Ravens. That's just mind-boggling to me. But anyways, in this video, we're going to give you our best player props for Week 10, and then we're going to give you our 3 anytime touchdown bets, and we'll finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. Help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join this awesome community. Discord link is below, completely free. Come talk sports with us every single day. But let's get into it, and it's time for the player props. All right, we start the first one with a quarterback prop and an under. Give me Kyler Murray under 202.5 passing yards at -115 on DraftKings for 1 unit. It's kind of a rinse and repeat. You guys know that followed us last week. We took CJ Stroud under passing yards. I think that was Thursday Night Football, and it cashed very easily against the Jets. And now we got Kyler Murray going up against the Jets. So let's talk Mr. Murray real quick. He's already under this in 4 of the last 6 games. So he's not a guy who's just been flying over this, and it's not just a matchup thing here. He's only averaging 7.1 yards per attempt. He's actually only completed 2 passes over 34 yards this season. It's not big play passing offense. One of those, by the way, was back in week 2. He's only averaging 199 pass yards per game. So he is literally averaging per game a little under the number that he needs to get if he wants to go over. And now he gets as tough a matchup as there is in the NFL. Jets defense, we talked about it last week. They've been rolling lately, especially the pass defense finally starting to pick it up. Overall, allowed the second fewest passing yards allowed per game, 158.2. They're holding a ton of quarterbacks under their season average, and that's what you want to see. Not necessarily are they under the 202 line or something. Russell Wilson was the only quarterback to have a legit game. He completed a really long pass to get there, but he had a decent game. Other than that, like we said, CJ Stroud, his average this year is 237. He didn't come close to it. He went 11 for 30 against the Jets. Darnold, they held to 179 yards. He averages 237.5 this year. They held Josh Allen to 215. He's averaging over about 225. So that's about an average one. Held Brock Purdy to 231. He averages over 260 per game. And Bo Nix averages just under 200 yards, kind of similar to Kyler Murray, honestly. And he was held to 60 passing yards. That's right. That day he had 60 more than I did. The weakness in the Jets defense also is going to be their run defense. Teams know that. That's why the Jets have given up the 4th most rush attempts this season at 31 per game. They've also given up 132.6 yards per game on the ground. I expect a lot of rush attempts by James Conner. I think he could have a decent game here, and I think the Arizona Cardinals game plan here is not for Kyler Murray to try to throw all over the field because it won't be pretty. They are going to try to run the ball with James Conner. And this Cardinals pass offense in general, I mean, the Jets really just need to focus. Sauce Gardner and these guys, you focus on slowing down McBride and Marvin Harrison. There's really not anybody else. I know there's Michael Wilson and all that. Nobody else has over 288 or 283 yards this season other than McBride and Marvin Harrison. It's not exactly just elite weapons all over. Obviously, those are 2 good players, but I think Kyler Murray is going to have to use his legs. I think they're going to have to rely on James Conner, but it could be one of those slow it down type of games for them. I just don't see them passing it all over the field because teams don't usually do that against the Jets. And Kyler Murray, like I said, averaging around 200 yards passing for per game. So top 2 pass defense, maybe arguably the number 1 pass defense. So give me Kyler Murray to just have an average or below average game, and he will go under this 202.5 pass yards, and that is my first best bet. All right, this second one is a kicker prop. That's right. Let's run it back, but this time it's Young Wei Koo over 2.5 PATs made at -115 on DraftKings. That's point after touchdowns. That's extra points. This is obviously more about the Falcons' offense than Young Wei Koo. We'll talk about him briefly at the end, but this Falcons' offense is absolutely rolling. They have scored 4 or more touchdowns now in 4 of the last 5 games. They've been excellent in the red zone. In fact, the last 6 red zone trips they've had the last 3 weeks all resulted in touchdowns. They can make big plays in the run game, pass game. Since the start of October, the Falcons are averaging just a tick under 30 points per game, and now they get to face the Saints. Yes, they fired their coach, but they also traded Marshawn Lattimore. It's going to take a while. They're going to be a mess. But this Saints defense has just been really bad. They've given up 14 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. 14 in the last 4 weeks. 11 touchdowns given up in their last 14 red zone trips. That is not pretty at all in the red zone defense. 27th in pass yards allowed, 25th in rush yards allowed, getting little pressure on the quarterbacks. The crazy thing here is that the Falcons team touchdowns over 2.5 on DK is actually -175. And now we're just saying Young Wei Koo just has to make those, and we're getting it all the way down to -115. Loving the value here. All we're adding, like I said, is for Koo. We need Koo to make them. That's obviously important. You can score 3 touchdowns, but he's got to make them. Well, he's a decent 21 for 21 on extra points. One of the best kickers in the game. If you don't know, it's going to be inside, no weather issues, going to be in a dome. I like this one. Give me Young Wei Koo over 2.5 extra points as my second best bet. All right, this third one is a running back prop. Give me Najee Harris over 63.5 rush yards at -115 on Bet365 for 1 unit. Let's talk about Mr. Najee. My goodness, this guy has been on fire. Lanes have really opened up. I think it's helped that Russell Wilson's a quarterback, not Justin Fields, so they're stacking the box and everything like that. But he has over 100 rushing yards in 3 straight games. The last 3 games, he is averaging 6 yards per carry, 4.9, and 7.6 yards per carry on 14, 21, and 19 carries. Commanders have been really good against the pass this year, surprisingly, but against the run, they struggle. 29th against the run with 143 rush yards per game allowed to their opponent. Tyrone Tracy just had 66. Swift had 129. Chuba Hubbard 52. They did decent on that one. And Derrick Henry 132. Let's talk some Najee stats now. He's over this line in 7 of 10 games this season, as you can see by this screenshot from Outlier. It's wild to see such a low line for a guy who's had 100 plus in 3 straight. He has the 6th most yards after contact for running backs, the 7th most broken tackles. He has been an absolute stud, the guy that they were hoping for when they drafted him early. So I think the books are a little slow to move here on what he's been able to do with Russell Wilson at quarterback. There is a possible ladder spot. Now let's talk about the ladder. I do not have it ready to go yet. I'm either going to have 2 different individuals running their own ladder, and he might be one of them, or I might have one of those 2-leg ladder parlays like we've done before. And either way, whatever I have will be in the pinned comments on X and on Discord. So I just want to point that out. I know some of you guys are looking forward to that, but I don't want to force anything. I want to make sure I have time to get you the best ladders. So it'll be 2 individuals or a 2-legger, like I said. So anyways, for this one, after that rambling, I am taking Najee Harris over 63.5 rush yards for 1 unit as my third best bet. All right, this fourth one is another running back prop, but for receiving yards. Give me DeAndre Swift over 16.5 receiving yards at -110 on Bet365, a 1-unit play. He has been absolutely crushing this line. As you can see by this screenshot from Outlier, he is over this in 6 of the last 7 games, averaging 32 receiving yards per game in that span. His only miss was versus Washington when Caleb Williams only had 10 completions. They ran all over him. It's just one of those games. But running backs versus New England lately, New England's decent against receiving running backs, but they haven't faced a ton of great ones. Joe Mixon, though, did have 30. Jordan Mason had 37. He's not even a big receiving back. Pollard, 26. Charbonnet for the Seahawks had 31. Breece Hall went over in one game, under in another one. And so, it's not great matchups for them, so it's hard to really tell. But again, we just need 17. We're not asking for a ton here. Some Swift stats now. That made sense. Swift stats. Averaging 9 yards per reception. So if I do my math correctly, he just needs 2 at 9 yards per reception. We're not asking for much. And his receptions line right now is standard juice at 2.5. If you take away that Commanders game, he has 19 targets in the last 4 games. He has been targeted heavily. The volume will be there for him. Like I mentioned before in the other video, the Bears offense is much better at home. I expect Caleb Williams in this offense to have a bounce back game. This is a possible ladder spot as well. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But again, like I mentioned last one, I will have my ladder plays down below, either individually or on the duo. But I think 16.5 is too low. Like I said, he could get this in 1 big play, 2 plays, and he might end up getting 4 or 5 targets as well. So give me DeAndre Swift over 16.5 receiving yards. That is my 4th and final bet on the video. I will be adding a ladder parlay, like I mentioned, and I will also be adding probably one more player prop, maybe two. And now, before we get out of here, though, we got to talk those anytime touchdowns. All right, let's go. It's time to feed off that momentum from the Andrews touchdown on Thursday. Let's get some winners. First one, the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Jefferson, anytime touchdown, plus 100 on FanDuel. He started the year with 1+ touchdown in 5 of the first 6 games. He's gone scoreless the last 2 weeks. To me, it's just a little bit of an unluckiness because you need some luck with touchdowns. But he had 115 and 137 receiving yards, so he had huge games still. And now he gets to face the Jags. You guys get it. You've been following me all season long. The Jags are awful. They've allowed the 5th most touchdowns to the wide receiver position, the 4th most yards to the wide receiver position. I think he has a huge game here. I like him to find the end zone, getting even money, a little bit of a discount, buy a low spot, in my opinion. So let's hope JJ can do a little gritty in the end zone for us. And then Darnell Mooney, the second one, is another receiver prop. Anytime touchdown. Taking a shot here on this one, plus 195 on FanDuel. He's been quietly having a great season for the Atlanta Falcons. He has 68 targets, which is only 2 less than Drake London. It's hard to believe. He also has 4 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks. That's absolutely crazy. His red zone target share is now up to 17.2%. But he's a guy who can make some big plays, and now he's facing a Saints defense are now without Marshawn Lattimore as they traded him away. You know what I think about the Saints defense. I already talked about them. But Mooney is averaging 14.3 yards per catch, making big plays down the field, so he does not need to be in the red zone to be able to score here. And really, we're getting practically 2-to-1 odds for a guy who's been doing this almost every week the last 5 weeks. Absolutely love it. Give me Darnell Mooney anytime touchdown at plus 195. And then the third one, a little bit safer one. Let's see if we can cash Mr. Jalen Hurts at plus 110. He has 6 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. 6 TDs in the last 3 weeks. He's really using his legs when they get near the goal line again. 1+ touchdown in 5 of the last 8 games. Cowboys have allowed 13 touchdowns on the ground this year. Obviously, running backs, quarterbacks running, it's a little different. I expect the Eagles to have chances. I think they're going to move the ball pretty well on Dallas. Hurts had 15 rushing touchdowns last season. Just to remind you, he is an absolute beast when it comes to that. We know that. I love getting plus money still for him when he's been just absolutely crushing it. Like I said, he's averaging 2 touchdowns a week the last 3 weeks. So give me Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. Give me Darnell Mooney and give me Justin Jefferson. This is not a parlay. I'm throwing a quarter unit each on them. You guys do what you want. Just wanted to give you the info for the anytime touchdown. So that's what I got for player props and touchdown props. Again, more will be added in the pinned comments on X and on Discord when it comes to the ladder plays and when it comes to any added player props for week 10. So that's what we got. Let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. Kyler Murray under 202.5 passing yards, minus 115. Younghoe Koo over 2.5 PATs. And then Najee Harris over 63.5 rush yards, minus 115. Could be a possible ladder play. Check the pinned comments later for that. And then DeAndre Swift over 16.5 receiving yards, minus 110 for 1 unit. And then we got the anytime touchdowns. Let's get some winners here. We start out with 2 receivers, Justin Jefferson at plus 100 and Darnell Mooney plus 195. And then Jalen Hurts to wrap it up at plus 110. Thank you guys for watching all season long, every single day. I appreciate it. Just a reminder, NBA videos don't happen on the weekends, so I give out bets on the community tab on our YouTube page, on Discord, which is free, and on X if you're looking for those. But thanks again. Hope everyone enjoys some football this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.